Hi everyone, and welcome to another You Can Tuesday video. I forgot to hit record during class, so I am re-recording this afterwards. Tonight we're going to do a project with a light bulb. We're recycling light bulbs, and it is actually something I did with my mother when I was a kid, so it's kind of a fun little project. And I'm going to get started and talk you through the beginning, and then I will fast forward through a lot of it because it's just watching me wind, and there's no point in having you sit here for 30 minutes while I do that. So here we go. All right, so you're going to take your light bulb, and you need a hot glue gun, and you're just going to put a little dab right in the center, and that's going to be your starting point. Okay, and you put your twine in your glue and wrap just your first circle around there. Okay, and hold that on there till it dries for a second. It doesn't take long with hot glue. Okay, now you could continue with hot glue, but one of the issues that you have with hot glue on glass is it does tend to come unstuck. So what I'm actually going to use is Journey Glaze, and this is by Fun Stampers Journey. My bottle looks terrible because I use it constantly. It's my go-to glue. And you're just going to start putting on your layers of twine, and I just put a little glue in circular motion around it, so you've got like that, and then I put my finger in the center and just start wrapping. And you'll have to switch fingers, but you know, basically you just start wrapping, and you can, you know, hold it and move the bulb instead. That works too. Whatever is most comfortable for you. Okay, when you get to the end of this little rounded edge here, you want to stop and really push it in and make sure that it's tight, because you don't want any of your glass showing. And just push it into that glue. And I've still got a little more glue, so I can keep going. And I'm just going to push as I go. Okay. All right, and then you're just going to put more glue on and continue that process until you are up to the top. So I'm going to fast forward it now, and when I get to the very top, I will stop and show you how to finish it off. So going up the incline is probably the trickiest part, and you've noticed all through the video I've been stopping and pushing down on the twine towards the rows beneath it to make sure that it's really tight. So when you're going up on the incline of the metal part here, just go a little bit slower, be patient, take your time, wrap and hold it and wait for it to really stick. Again, you could use hot glue. I just prefer not to because I believe that it doesn't hold as well, and you know, this is something that you're going to want to last for a while. You'll be able to take out year after year to put in your baskets during fall, or you know, whatever time of year. Maybe you want it out year round, I don't know, but just take your time. There's no hurry. Crafting is about enjoying it, and if you hurry through crafts, then you know, what's the point? Just make sure though that you're really pressing it down into the row below, because you don't want any of your metal or your glass to show. Okay, so I'm pushing down, 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 and then go back, because after the glue, you know, gets tacky and holds for a second, then you can really push it into the row below. And like I said, I just make sure that there's no silver or glass showing. Okay, so once you reach this point and you've got just the little silver end showing, that's where we're going to stop and let it dry for just a few minutes. Make sure that it sets up pretty good, and then we'll add the end parts to it. So since I have the time, and this is a video rather than a live class because of my mistake, I am going to pause it and I will be back in just a minute. Okay, so this is set up for, I don't know, 5-10 minutes, and it doesn't have to be a long time, but just enough to make sure that it's really stuck. And we are going to wrap this top part, but first what I do is I go outside and I just look for a little twig, and you can get it whatever length you want. This one is maybe a little long, so I'll probably cut off part of it. Now, when you're doing sticks and things like that, and you're bringing them into your house, it's a good idea to clean them. And how I do that, because I don't want bugs in my house, is I wash it with soap and water, and then I put it in the oven and bake it at 350 for about 30 minutes, and that will kill off anything that's in there. Okay, so now I'm just sanding the end so that it's nice and flat, and I'm just using a nail file, and that will make it stay on the light bulb. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do for security is I'm going to put a dot of this glue, and then I'm going to hold that on there for just a second, just so that it kind of gets a little tacky. One of the things that we learned at class tonight, we had a rep with us from Fun Stamper's Journey. It's Christina Diet. She's actually the one that I buy my glue from all the time, and they sell other things too, but this is my favorite product that they make. And I asked her, because I always have glue stuck to my fingers when I'm working with it, and she said if you keep baby powder next to you while you're working, and it's still sticky, the glue is still sticky, you can rub baby powder on and it'll take it right off, which I didn't know. And I don't have any baby powder at the house, so tomorrow I will be making a trip to get some. And the other thing she said, though, is because I'm always scrubbing and scrubbing and scrubbing because this glue just sticks like crazy, is to take Dawn dishwashing soap, which I've never tried. I always just use hand soap. Well, I used Dawn dishwashing soap, and I'm telling you, it works like a dream. My hand is perfectly clean, and you know, while I was on break here for a second, waiting for this to set up, I went in and washed my hands, and it's all off, and it just takes a second. So that was a great tip. I was so glad she was there to tell us that. Okay, so this isn't fully set up. As you can see, I can still take it off. But what I'm going to do for the sake of the video and to make it just a little faster is I'm going to take some hot glue and go around the edge. And we're going to cover this up anyway, so that won't show. Alright, got that on there. And now I'm just going to take my twine and wrap it around. If I do it quickly, I won't have to do any more gluing, because it'll stick right in that hot glue. But it's going to dry too fast. So, but at least I got one layer around. Okay, so I've got that partially done. And now I'm going to go back to my other glue and put some of that glue on top. Just a little. Don't need a lot. And do that final layer to cover up that hot glue that we put on. And you would not have to use the hot glue if you have patience and you just want to sit and wait for the other glue to dry. That would be my recommendation, but for the sake of video, I am doing it this way. Okay, and I've just wrapped up to cover up the glue, up the stick a little bit. And I'm pushing down again just like I did before to make sure that it's good and tight. Okay, and now I'm just going to cut my twine. And I'm going to tuck that as tightly as I can down into the other piece. And I'll give you a good close-up here in a second. And I use my fingernail to do that. Just want it to be in there good and tight. Okay, so now you can see it's tucked in really, really tightly. Okay? Okay, so there's the beginning of our pear. Now, at class earlier, we decorated some other ones, so I'm just going to show you those real quickly. On this one, I used a belt lace like this and some seam binding. This is moss green. Both of these are available in the Gone Artsy store. Oh, I have that upside down. Let me show it to you close up. Okay, and then I wove the green seam binding, moss green, into this. You could use any color you want. I just thought with, pears are generally green, so I chose the green. So that was that one, and then I tied, after I glued that on, I tied a seam binding bow and put it right in the center. So that gave us a pretty little pear. Okay, now for this one, I used this lace, also available at Gone Artsy, and it's currently on clearance, so it's pretty cheap. And what I did for this, I wanted the ends to be kind of bunched together so that this would cover that. So I just kind of squished it together like that, put hot glue on it, scrunched it with my fingers and waited for it to dry, and then I wrapped it around to figure out my length, cut it, and did the same thing on the other end. Scrunched it together, put the glue on, I cut it first, scrunched it together, put the glue on, and then I glued it onto the pear. Then in the center, I took one of these rose and rhinestone embellishments. I'll get this up close here so you can see it. It's kind of hard with the sparkle. It doesn't focus real well, but it's very pretty. It's a bright green, and these are also available in Gone Artsy. And then I took the seam binding and I tied that on the top. Now, you could use a different color seam binding. Like I said, you could find one that matches the rose better, or you could use a different, totally different, like a dark green or whatever you wanted. But I just really like this color. It reminds me of pears. So I stuck with that. And I didn't cut these ends off yet because I think I may crinkle them, but I haven't decided for sure. So those are our pears, and you can decorate these any way you want to. You could even leave them plain. If I were doing a basket, I would probably leave some plain and some decorated, and I would, arrange them in a basket. And I will probably take a picture here in a basket before I load this onto YouTube. And so stay tuned for still pics, and you'll get a really, really cute little idea. All right, that's it for YouTube. I'm sorry, for Weekend Tuesdays. And again, I apologize for not recording during the actual show. But I did re-record it, so you have the idea, and I hope you make some of these and share your pictures. All right, thank you for joining us.